passing yards. Let's look at the black shirts numbers. Black shirts only allowed 219 passing yards per game in 2021. I set the over-under at 232 because I'm kind of in the camp that says that the defense may take a step back in some of the bigger games toward the end of the year as this defense is trying to figure out how to play together without a JoJo Doman and a Cam Taylor-Britt out there on the field, along with the two safeties that were pretty darn good. So 232 is what I've got for an over-under. Scott, you won this category last year. So what do you think?
So I'm if there's anything that I'm drinking Kool-Aid about this year, it's that I'm not convinced that our defense is going to take much of a step back this year. Just based on a lot of comments that our coaches have been making and a lot of players have been making in interviews, they don't seem to buy into the fact that they're taking a step back. They haven't showed any humility at all in that regard. They are very, very overtly expressing the fact that no, their goal this year is to take it a step forward, which is all just talk, but they seem to be hyping it up. And so I'm going to go under, but I'm going to stay right about the same. I'm going to stay at about the same as it was in 2021. I'm going to say 220 is where I'm thinking it's going to be at. They're going to hold an average per game passing yards at 220, especially because we have if we can do what we did with Oklahoma, which was supposed to be super explosive, same thing with Michigan State. They were supposed to be super explosive, Ohio State, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If we can replicate that again, then I don't see any reason why we don't keep that stat line the exact same. So I'm going with 220.
I'm going to go with the under as well. I'm kind of right there with you, except I'm just going to use a little dyslexia on those last two numbers on the over-under, and I'm going to go with 223 yards passing given up. I think they really like that. Travis Fisher really likes what he's got in his room right now, and I like the way Travis Fisher coaches. I have quite a bit of confidence in Eric Shenander's scheme for getting guys able to make plays when they need to make plays. The real question mark is who's going to play that JoJo Doman role. Is it going to be Isaac Gifford? Is it going to be Chris Kolarevic? And is that going to hurt us ultimately in the pass game if that guy doesn't get that figured out right away? I think he will. Whoever starts there, I think they will, and I think they'll make a difference and bring some pressure when we need it. So 223 passing yards per game is what I'm seeing this defense give up. How about you, Tyler? What are you thinking?
Well, here is my optimism. These next few questions, guys. I this isn't a step back. This isn't a neutral. This is a step forward for me. I think our pass rush is going to be disruptive. I think that is a changer of the team. Position to position, I do not expect our secondary to be as strong, but it's going to be a lot better when you look at the passing. The other thing that helps us, you know who we don't play this year? Ohio State.
Yeah.
Yep.
That by itself helps us out quite a bit. I don't think Oklahoma's passing attack will be as good as last year. I think so. We have a lot of things working in our favor in that regard. So I'm going a strong under at 202 a game.
Wow.
202. Holy
my goodness,
crap.
dude. Put the Kool-Aid down and go back to the bourbon, for goodness sake.
Your wish, my man.
Good Lord in heaven.
All right, Justin, what do you got?
I'm so proud of you.
So the secondary is the weakest part of the defense. There's so many question marks. There's not a lot of experience there. We have one experienced guy. I am going to go under here, but it's barely. I mean, it's like 230. If you would have set the over-under at anything other than that, I mean, I would have to go over. I think teams are going to find out real quick that they'll be able to throw against our secondary. I don't think there's anybody in our secondary that really scares anybody at this point. Tyler, you're shaking your head, but who scares you?
I think Quinn Newsom's a really good corner. Okay. I think he has the potential to be all Big Ten. And
one out of four guys.
I
mean, we had one all Big Ten guy last year.
I mean,
that's okay. Because I dare anybody to throw on us like Justin thinks they're going to.
I hope they do.
Okay.
Because if they do, they're going to meet Mr. Garrett Nelson and O'Shawn Mathis.
We just had this
A lot.
conversation with Jeffy the Greek on our podcast this last week, and he's like, "Yeah, teams aren't going to throw on you guys."
Right. Derrick, so you got 230, Justin,
230,
right? I got
right.
that right. Okay. Go ahead, Derrick.
And Jeffrey the Greek is a lot of the reason why I'm picking the number that I'm picking. Is I agree with him. I don't think a lot of teams are going to try and throw against us a ton. I think look at the teams we're playing. I mean, we're losing Ohio State, who threw a bunch. Really, what do we have? We don't know what Oklahoma's bringing to the table. We have Purdue, and there's just not a lot of teams that are just going to be like pass happy against us.
They
So I
don't
think
need
this
to be
number
pass
is-
happy. All they got to do is get open and chunk us.
I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. Especially with O'Shawn Mathis and Garrett Nelson up front. Anyway, I'm picking the under by quite a bit. I'm not quite as optimistic as Tyler, but I went with 211.
211. All right.
All right.
All righty. Hey, I think that's the last one, isn't it? Don't mind me. I'm just here hanging out. Passing touchdown. Well, let's take a look at what Twitter had to say. They were pretty favorable as well. Under by 77%, which is pretty much we all picked under except for we all picked under, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yep.